All right, guys, so let's talk about this. So, I was asked, who do I think will replace John Cena? And I said, how do you mean? In terms of what? And to just narrow it down, star power, the next guy to be that guy. And I said, well, if you look at it, man, when was the last time that John Cena was that guy? Right? John Cena retired for many years. He'd come back here and there. I said, and now he's been back for like a year, right? He's retiring. I said, so people seem, they make it sound like, you know, however many years that he's been there, like all those years he was gone, like he wasn't, like he was just there consistently, right? Now, in terms of his star power, okay, well, even with John Cena, they still lost ratings. So I'm like, how do you mean that question? If you're talking about, like, as far as his charisma and what he's done, and somebody that you think, I don't know why you always think somebody has to duplicate what somebody else has done, but in terms of somebody being what he was in his peak, let's put it that way. I mean, you could ask that same question about The Rock or Stone Cold, you know, Taker. Who's going to be here's the answer. There is nobody that's going to take his place. They have right now, look at the WWE roster. Who on that roster right now even comes close to that? I'm so sick of hearing about Austin Theory. Y'all been saying that bullshit years ago. Austin Theory was supposed to be that guy. No, Austin Theory doesn't have, and he doesn't have anything that's gonna say superstar. He's been around way too long. Y'all gotta understand something. Before John Cena started on the basic thugonomics and all, like before his character took off, he was there, and people, you know, like you could see he had potential to, like, as for in turn. Look, a person's potential is measured two ways. One, by what you see them do, and two, opinions. Because you can imagine shit happening, but that doesn't mean that things you imagine that person's career is going to unfold that way. So I don't think anybody saw the basic thugonomics coming. So the potential is, okay, his look, his his intensity, and like, but the character that he had wasn't going to do it, right? That particular character. So are you going to throw another guy some jeans and wear his hat backwards and start rapping? And so no, you won't replace John Cena. It's not about you can replace a person in terms of, okay, if somebody else can come and become a big draw, but it's not just a John Cena thing, because John Cena, you know, his legacy was already cemented. He didn't even have to win 17 titles, and then the U.S. title or whatever. But in terms of somebody being, I think a better question is, who do you think is gonna step up and become the next big star? I don't see anybody within that company right now that's gonna take WWE to new heights. To be able to maintain what they're doing or avoid losing viewership and all that, I don't know. But looking at that roster, who? I mean, because they don't know what to do with Braun Breaker, and he's really the only guy that looks like he can really do something. I mean, like you got a lot of silly guys. I mean, they got Matt Cardona back, like big whoopee, man. You know what I'm saying? What are they doing with these guys? They did nothing with LA Knight. They failed LA Knight. I mean, LA Knight had the charisma. LA Knight could have been that guy. LA Knight should have been that guy. Jey Uso was nothing but a gimmick. That's it. There was nothing about Jey Uso that said superstar. Everything about Jey Uso was him coming out, yeet, all the little silly stuff, but bell to bell, what does he have? Isn't that what they criticized other wrestlers for back in the day? Oh, from bell to bell, they couldn't wrestle, but they had the charisma. Okay, so, you know, I don't know why all of a sudden they try to give this generation a pass, but Jey Uso can't wrestle, man. CM Punk doesn't have the star power. Y'all pretend he does. But with CM Punk, with Roman Reigns, with John Cena, they still 2-point-something, 2.3 rate. They still can't get back to a 5.9. So even when those guys are on the show, what's going on? What's happening? So if it's somebody that's on that roster, they're going to have to give them a serious makeover. Because I really think that stuff is over with, as far as somebody having star power. Like, look, somebody can be the face of the company, yes. But like I said, if you're talking about somebody being able to, let's just say, I don't know what John Cena's what the ratings were when he was on TV back in the day. But let's just say, for example, let's just if they were doing a 4.0. I don't think they were. But if they I remember them doing like 3.8 and stuff. They might have broke the 4.0, did that maybe a couple of times, whatever, several times. But consistently, I remember them being like a 3.4, 3.3, stuff like that. But anyway, let's just say it was a 3.9. If you are the face of the company right now, but you can't get a 3.9 or surpass that, then you understand what I'm saying? That question is like, what do you mean who's going to replace John Cena? You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, a guy who's on his way out, for him to be the face of the company, shows you how weak the rest of the roster is. That goes to show you, and that's always been a WWE thing. And people are not happy with the way his exit has been going. Now, him winning the U.S. title, I guess, is supposed to make people go, okay, that makes up for the way they were treating him, because I don't think anybody expected him to really win the title from Dom. But it's not about replacing John Cena. It's not about replacing The Rock or Stone Cold or any of them. It's about adding an addition to the roster, to the company, to the history of, all these different people and it doesn't fucking matter anyway, because what you really have when it comes to whoever have those high beams on, like, curse the hell out of them, curse them. Damn, you must be blind as a bat to have those lights. I'm pretty sure y'all can see that on my face. That's somebody's freaking headlights. Wow. So anyways, yeah, it's about an addition. It's about, when you look at that, bottom line, people are gonna go from a more current generation. They always want to say that the wrestlers, the actors, the singers, the rappers, the whatever, everything is. They always try to give the nod to something from their generation, which is childish as hell. But the reality is, man, yeah, you're not gonna replace John Cena. And these wrestlers in this era don't have that type of charisma. They don't have that type of presence, the mic skills. They don't. Basically, I told you, these guys just they come out and they sound like they're just talking. That's it. But they're not even, no real rhyme or reason. They're just talking. So I don't see it as a who's going to replace John Cena situation. I see it more as, that's a question that I was asked, and I'm pretty sure there's other people that maybe think that way. Like, yeah, I wonder who's going to be the person to, replace him. But I like I said, I feel like it's more like who, and it's not about one person. It's about the talent. All these guys that's there, man. These men and women. It's not about just one person. And to be honest with you, if one person is carrying the show, that means that one person is going to have to be included all the time. That means that one person is basically going to have to be in situations to look dominant. And, in this era of time, man, it's I don't know, man. Like, this, what the WWE is showing me, what they've showed me, is that all they care about is just giving you whatever they feel like giving you. And as long as you tuning in, they really don't even care about what you're saying. They just is like, all right, complain. Okay, now tune in and watch. Complain. Okay, now purchase. That's all they really care about. So, to be perfectly honest with you, if they were so concerned about somebody replacing John Cena themselves, that wrestler, we would already be looking at going, that guy's going to be the next big thing in the company. And there's no one person, male or female, that I look at in WWE and feel like that person is going to be the next big thing. They're just people that's there. Nothing special about them. They one of the stupidest things that the WWE does, and I promise you this, man. And people always try to flip it to try to make it, make it seem like it was other reasons for what happened. But they always take someone that wasn't a homegrown talent, and they always strip them down to make them look so plain. And even when they have, let's just say somebody that gets a big push through them, get a big buzz through them, if they don't want, even if the fans want that person, if they don't look at that person the same way, that person's not getting that push. And it's just something about them, man. And you know, people just lied. This year was finally, I remember Jim Ross said it a long time ago, and I said the same thing, but people are finally now like, yo, you know what, man? Goldberg, they didn't treat Goldberg the same way that he was when he was in WCW. And I told you guys that. Y'all all this Stone Cold nonsense. Like, man, Stone Cold, look, the way Goldberg character was designed, The Rock, Stone Cold, none of them dudes should have been able to have this dude. Understand something. None of them shouldn't have been able to have a match with him and he not destroy their ass. Like, they got to pull every string, you know, every trick out the everything, right? Let me tell you something. The way he went through, like look at his battles with Sting and Luger and everybody that he got, Kurt Hennig, everybody that he got in there with, right? Hogan gave him the biggest fight. Okay, understand something. The Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys, right? And I'm not saying not to be creative in ways to find ways where they can make the matches go longer than what they were expected. But this is what I'm saying. Nothing that these guys did. All Stone Cold do is punch, kick, stick his middle fingers up. Like, you understand what I'm saying? There's like, it's nothing about these dudes. It's like, yo, this dude is like unbeatable. That was Goldberg's thing. They clearly wanted to make it known. Like, he beat The Rock, but remember, The Rock was going into acting anyway, like to further his acting career. So, just like when with him and Brock, they knew Brock was retiring. So even though Goldberg won, what happens? Goldberg, Stone Cold gives him a stunner at the end of the match at that WrestleMania. Like, you know, they really did not let Goldberg. You see how Disney waters down the Hulk? They got him as Professor Hulk. Yeah, that's exactly what the WWE did to Goldberg. You know, he's in there in Stone Cold. You don't want to drink with me? You know what happens if you don't drink with me? Yes, Steve, I know what happened. And it's like, are you serious, man? If that would have been in WCW, he would have speared Stone Cold out of his boots. But this is what they love to do. And anybody who's been watching it long enough knows. Anybody who's honest knows. They don't want people, they pick who they want to shine and how they want them to shine. So, I mean, who do you look at right now? How the hell are you going to, how? Replace John Cena, how? Who? And even if they want, let's just say if they decided they wanted Braun Breaker to be that person, the amount of time that Braun Breaker's been there, they haven't let him do much of anything. And this is what I'm saying. John Cena found his niche. And once he went into the basic thugonomics thing, it worked for him like a charm. But when he turned face, that's when he really blew up. And, you know, I remember that night when they drafted him to Raw, man, and he came out, how loud the fans was. It was like, okay, they got another, they found their next superstar. Who the hell do you see doing that right now? There's nobody. Seth Rollins is too old. LA Knight is too old. You know, all these guys, you know, Roman Reigns already had his day. He already, and you know, he didn't beat John Cena. So, you know what I mean? He still, Roman Reigns was the best thing that they had, you can say, since John Cena, you know, and Brock Lesnar. But at the end of the day, John Cena was being used to make Roman Reigns look stronger. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, we know it's, you know, Roman already did what he did. You know, so yeah, I mean, when you look at who's there, I mean, and how stupid was that Brock Lesnar came out, F5'd him, and what happened after that? Like what did that lead to? Nothing. I mean, it's crazy. And the fact that they're sitting up here trying to figure out who his last opponent's going to be against and whatever, like, it's really, what's happening is this. You see how Goldberg's career ended? Trash. You see what they're doing with John Cena right now. You see how Sting's career ended there, right? Okay. Understand something. It's a difference when you care about professional wrestling as opposed to sports entertainment, because they're going to put you in a situation where the fans are going to remember your exit. What they've been doing with him, this weird shit. I mean, and let's just be real. Okay, he won the title, the U.S. title. Who the fuck takes Dominic Mysterio serious? Dominic Mysterio don't even look like a wrestler, man. He's built like a fucking 10-year-old girl, and he looks like, that little stupid mustache. I mean, it's more of a character thing of him getting booed out the building to him being able to get the fans to. That's just how wrestling fans are. They will boo you, boo you, boo you, boo you. Next thing you know, they love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like that. That's what happened with Dominic. And to be honest with you, what helped them with that too is the Judgment Day is so whack that when you look at like what is the Judgment Day? Why are they even together? What is this group? They just make no sense at all. And when you look at who's who and the way things are going down, it's like, I guess the only person you really could get behind in that group, the one to see do something, was Dominic Mysterio. If you look at the amount of time Finn Balor's been there, can you really look at him and say they didn't fail Finn Balor as well? Finn Balor's a joke. I used to watch that dude on the Indies. I used to watch him over in New Japan, and I used to like, man, this is when he was Prince Devitt, and I'm like, yo, that dude right there. You know, especially used to come out just like the Demon and all that. But yeah, WWE stripped that away from him. I mean, it's just weird, man, because when you look at what's going on in the WWE and you ask yourself that question, all you gotta do is look at the roster, man. I mean, and who the hell you think they're gonna bring from the outside that they want to make bigger than John Cena? Or that's not what they do. Look at what they did to Jade Cargill, and then after all of that, the insults and Jade this and she ain't ready, she just go back to AEW, all this shit, like as if AEW ain't a solid fucking place to wrestle and don't have a fucking a slew, got the most talented wrestlers, period. But at the end of the day, they make her the champion. Look at how weak the buildup was. I mean, that was atrocious, bro. She should have never lost to any of those women. Getting eliminated from the Royal Rumble or stuff like that or whatever, okay, but like for her to have her shoulders pinned to the mat by little ass Liv Morgan with that little weak ass move, and I'm like, wow. And it wasn't even one of these matches where it was kick out after kick out. She just flattened her, and I'm like, wow. And this is after her, she's been attacked, and her target is Naomi. And this is where she's supposed to come back with a vengeance. She comes back and loses to Liv Morgan. I mean, seriously. And y'all don't see how they purposely take wrestlers that were not homegrown talent. They put them in a certain spotlight, and okay, we're going to use her to maneuver this person in. And you know, everything that I saw going on, it was just like, yeah, this is trash, man. I mean, like example, like she just fought B-Fab or whatever she called herself, right? Okay, cool. There's plenty of people on that roster that she can chop down and run through and look solid and look strong, and you're looking forward to seeing her against a Bianca Belair, or, you know, I mean, size-wise, size-wise, Lash Legend is a lot bigger than Jade Cargill, and she might even be stronger than Jade. She just don't have that type of, you know, the muscularity, the sex, like, well, they got two different types of sex appeals, but you know, but what I'm saying, she just don't have that. Raquel Rodriguez is physically bigger than Jade Cargill. Now, that doesn't mean that Jade Cargill shouldn't be able to beat them. What I'm saying is, those are people that she can chop down, and they're gonna say, "Oh, that's a big chick too." But I don't know what their plans are for Lash Legend. I don't know. And Raquel Rodriguez has been around. She's just been nothing but a sidekick to just different female wrestlers, but she doesn't really do anything. So there's no way that Jade Cargill should not be able to beat Lash Legend and Raquel Rodriguez. But these are people that she can have under her belt. And like I said, so building up to the Rhea Ripleys, building up to a fight with a Bianca Belair, like people like, the top women on the roster is what I'm saying. Bottom line, they could easily, but it's like, nah, she's not from AEW, so we're gonna make her look strong and all that. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of that shit was on purpose. Like I remember somebody said something like, you know what you do with Jade? You take her and throw her in the fire, and either she can sink or swim. Right? That's a real good attitude to have, to throw, especially on national TV, right? Because they wanted to see her fail. So the thing is, with Jade, they didn't want to see her as being seen as being better than Bianca or Rhea or Charlotte or any of them, because, hey man, she's fresh out of AEW. You know, So all this sending her to the performance center just to try to make her be someone she's not. And what do they do in the end? Resort to what the fuck did I tell you from day one? Let Jade be Jade. They're not using her right. And the same thing they did with Bill Goldberg. They did not use Bill right. They didn't put him in the right situations. And I used to watch that shit and get sick to my stomach. Because you can see it. When the Texas Tornado Kerry Von Erich came to WWE, I'm watching this dude in WCCW, UWF. I'm watching his work. And I watched him come there, and I watched how they used him so differently. Like, you know, you might know the story now about, like, who did he fight for the Intercontinental Championship? I forgot who the hell it was. And they were trying to get, I think it was Kurt Hennig. And they was trying to get Davey Boy, the British Bulldog, but he wasn't available. He wasn't even in the WWE at the time. And they got Kerry Von Erich, and he stepped in and he became champion. And I remember they had him teaming up with the Ultimate Warrior for, you know, and you know, they made a good team, man. And, you know, similar build, similar in size, and, you know, it was something that people look forward to. And then I remember when they brought The Undertaker in, man. The Undertaker beat Kerry Von Erich in like 2 minutes or some shit like that. Look at what they've done to Julia. They have a history of doing this kind of stuff, man. They pick who they want. And the thing is, if you don't do numbers or get certain reactions like the way they think you should, they blame you. And it's a terrible thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's many other people that's like, why the fuck is Jordan Grace still in NXT? Why? Why is she still in NXT? If they were turning NXT into a powerhouse of a company, of a promotion where it wasn't about just some, you know, hey, listen, we're going to bring in younger talent, but we also got some people that we can put on this roster that it will be a nice mix of veterans with younger talent. And guess what? The fans will grow to see this NXT evolve into not a developmental, but a third standing brand with Raw and SmackDown and amongst AEW and everything else, that where they got actual real, you know, talented wrestlers, where the same thing in the promotion is seen in a more prominent way. Because all NXT ever was you know, developmental talent. That's all it ever was. And again, like when they tried that whole NXT swept Raw and SmackDown at that Survivor Series, yeah, but what happened? It didn't do anything for them in terms of their growth. Nobody was going, yo, NXT, we gotta watch the NXT. NXT still was, it was like the little brother, you know, of Raw and SmackDown. Well, if people would open their eyes and stop all of this glazing and get off their knees and stand up like real men and women, they'll see, like, yeah, this is what happens. And for you to just assume somebody's just going to, you know, somebody's on the horizon right now that's just going to replace a John Cena. You can't replace John Cena. You can't replace The Rock. You can't replace Sting. You can't replace Lex Luger. You can't replace these Ric Flair. You can't replace these guys. You can try to have somebody emulate them. You can have, I mean, somebody come along and become a big star or a bigger star. That, you know, but you can't replace them, man. Yeah, you can't replace them. We're not talking about some rookies that had potential but never got to where they wanted to go. I mean, hell, you can replace CM fucking Punk. CM Punk, people try to make it seem like CM Punk had this stellar career and CM Punk was on the verge of, like, he was in that position to, can I become what John Cena is? Can I become what Adam Copeland is? Can I be in that conversation? And then he left. You know, and that was what people wanted to see, was what could have became of him. They tried to make it seem like CM Punk was out here just terrorizing shit. No, I mean, you know, he did what he did, had a nice little, you know, lengthy title reign. And come on, man, stop it. So this is what I'm saying. You can replace people like that. He doesn't do anything for the ratings. He's not a guy, oh, CM Punk's on, everything shuts down. No. And you know, I notice a lot of people will give Stone Cold all this praise and not mention The Rock's name. Bro, Rock's the biggest fucking star they ever had. Stone Cold, you can say he made movies and stuff too. Stone Cold stop it, man. The biggest star in Hollywood, okay, who also defeated Stone Cold, and you know, and look, it got to the point they beat each other, but it got to the point I'm saying it's not about who you like. You really give a shit about either one of them, okay, personally. But I'm saying let's not play stupid. Stone Cold has been in movies. His movies he's not what The Rock is, okay, and they had different styles in the ring, different personalities in the ring, okay. Their ovations alone show you who's the bigger star. Let's not play stupid, man. You got open merchandise, and who cares about all that shit, man? I don't like you guys that's in fanboy mode. You focus on the wrong things. At the end of the day, Sting, if I had to pick a favorite, I've never liked any wrestler more than Sting. I've never in my life had a Sting shirt. Somebody bought me as a gift one day a shirt with Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man on it from their match at WrestleMania or SummerSlam or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, okay, I didn't buy that on my own. But yeah, I don't own a Sting shirt. Okay, I don't buy like wrestling merchandise. I don't buy that shit. I just like the product. So I'm not that person that you see sitting ringside with a belt on my shoulder, or you know, any belts I have I won. You know, boxing and shit like that or whatever. But I'm not one of those people. So you know, the people, everybody, you know, people are different. Well, people are robotic as hell, put it like that. But me, I'm different. I'm not in no category with everybody else. And I just keep it real, man. And all those years that Sting stayed away from WWE, yeah, he told us why. But then when you look at how his career ended there as well, it was like, oh, but they was afraid. Nah. Because they tried to give him a deal after he retired from AEW. If they were looking out for Sting, it shows you they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to deal with people like that. They don't know how to deal with those situations. But look at what Sting did with Darby Allin. Look at his run in AEW. Now imagine if Sting would have just said, all right, the hell with it. After this WWE run, I'm done. That's how his career would end. He lost to Triple H at WrestleMania. Sting did nothing. All Sting did, and this is something that you always could see in professional wrestling, and it's always, if the good guy gets the best of you before the match, like y'all had your little face-offs and things, and they're gonna lose the match. And every time they faced off in the ring, he got the best of Triple H. And I just, being the WWE being who they are, I'm like, nah, Sting gonna lose. They're gonna fumble. I don't know, man. They know you're thinking about the right thing to do. That's not what they do. Remember when Goldberg and Taker fought on Raw, I think it was, and everybody, oh man, Goldberg was botching. And no, let me tell you something, man. That's the WWE. Look, Taker and every Jim Ross, everybody. This is the funny thing. Eric Bischoff, all of them agreed with what I'm saying. The Undertaker is not full time. The WWE wanted to bring Goldberg back full time. So why would you have him lose to Taker? Why? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's something about them that they just want to try to make their guys look like, as great as other guys were from other promotions, these are our core guys, and they still reign over these guys. And that, even like with AJ Styles, look, you can say he won multiple championships, they okay and all, but they don't put AJ Styles on the same pedestal as they do a Randy Orton or John Cena. And every time I seen him fight Randy Orton always won. So if he ever beat Randy Orton, I missed that one. Because every time I saw them wrestle, he would always lose to Randy Orton. So it was always, there's guys we're going to keep you underneath. And let's not play stupid. It's always been like that. It's always been like that. If you're not a homegrown talent and you made a name for yourself at WCW, TNA, AEW, then when we bring you in, we can't let you just dominate. It's just something about them. Look at Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace, I told you they wanted her and Joe Hendry. I told you that. And Jordan Grace got that huge that ovation when she came out at the Royal Rumble, and she you know, went in there and so for those people that knew that her and Naomi had, you know, their issues in TNA, they you know, gave a little pop for them when they faced off with each other and started wrestling. But you know, she got eliminated by Bianca, and she talked about it. She was still the TNA Knockouts champion. I mean, damn, they could even made it when she was one of like the last 4 or 5. No. Bottom line, she's not WWE. She's TNA. So look at what happens. A woman of her stature, still in fucking NXT. And the matches that she's in is so corny. The drama, the hype building up to, so the storyline just so corny. So yeah, you got to look at all that, man. I mean, you look at who they have right now and how they're using them. That lets you know they're not going to replace John Cena. They don't know how to replace John Cena. Now, can you go out, find talent, have the creativity, see what a person's ability is, and be creative and give them the right character, push them where I know how to build stars. I know how. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. The WWE don't know how to do that shit. They lost touch with all that. And at the end of the day, I mean, shit, remember when Taker and Kane got together, they fought Shawn, and they fought Shawn and Triple H? Triple H is a fucking glory hound, man. And no matter how many times he tried to put himself over, he still is not seen on the same pedestal as The Rock and Stone Cold himself. Kurt Angle, a bad motherfucker. Look at how they treat Kurt Angle. Who talks about Kurt Angle? Kurt could perform in that ring, man. And listen, he didn't have the most entertaining character, no, but he can go in that ring, and that's what I care about. I don't care about how many insults you can tell somebody. If I want to hear insults and a bunch of talking, I watch battle rap. This is pro wrestling, man, and this goofy shit. And yeah, they beat the Brothers of Destruction. I'm like, look at Shawn Michaels. When the last time he even wrestled? And him and Triple H beat Kane and Taker. And I remember that night I said, Taker and Kane gonna lose, man. I said, because the egos of Shawn and fucking Triple H, especially Triple H, they're not, DX just had to get the win. Like, all right, whatever. Now who cares in 2025? So for me, it's all about moments. And when I say moments, I'm not talking about just spots in the match. I'm talking like these matches remember, because like the old stuff, I remember that shit like it was yesterday, because it was entertaining, and then, I'm saying, that's kind of what keep you in the game. And that's why I said, if it wasn't for AEW, I probably wouldn't even know what's going on in wrestling. Because there's nothing else that gets my attention that I'm going to watch it on a weekly basis outside of AEW. There's other stuff I'll see here and there. You know, I've given you names like Megan Bang, popped up in AEW. Camille popped up in AEW. You know, different people that has come. You know, I talked about Warhorse. People that he had a match with Cody Rhodes. That was like the earlier days. But you know, it's like I'm talking about Nikki Blackheart. You know, Harley Hudson. You know, I wish they would do something with Holly Dead's character, man, where she could stand out. But you know, she just has an awesome look, but the character and the look don't go together. And shit like that. You know, I just think in wrestling, period, man, that most people don't think certain characters will work in this era of time, and I think that they're wrong. You got to go out there and you have to understand how to control the narrative, and you control the narrative by making something special. And the fans, you know how it's something that if you told somebody you was going to do something before you did it, they try to talk you out of it, like, I don't think it's a good idea. But if you just go do it, then they see the success, then it's like, oh, that was a great idea. That's the type of situation that is. So yeah, I mean, come on, man, you know, yeah. But you know, WWE fans are slaves to the machine, man. They can't just be honest about what's going on. Who's going to replace John Cena? Absolutely nobody. John Cena is done what he's done, and his career is what it is, and they can't even do right with the talent that they have right now. And I mean, even look at John Cena when he did the heel turn. Didn't y'all want to see a darker John Cena come out, dressed different? You know, looking more. That haircut, man. His hair was looking weird in the match, man. It reminded me of the Stepfather. What's that those movies, The Stepfather or whatever. It's like a series of them. That's what he remind me of. You know, he's had this little, the haircut look weird, man. And I'm like, all right, he kind of straightened it out a little better. But it's just, I mean, the whole thing with him and The Rock, the storyline didn't go anywhere. And the whole thing is he turned due to The Rock. That they turn around and try to make him give some Inspector Gadget little plot that he came out with about he was always a step ahead, bullshit. But nothing. He comes out wearing the same blue jeans with his little wristbands and his little saying on the little towel. But I mean, like, this wasn't the dark side of him. Think about how Sting went from his original look. Surfer Sting wasn't the original look. When he first came, he had a more sinister, the way he wore his face paint and everything, he wore the all black. He had a more menacing look. Then he went to Surfer Sting. And before Surfer Sting, if you remember, when Nitro started, it was a different, like he had his hair, didn't look blonde, kind of brownish like, and it wasn't the flat top anymore. And him and Lex Luger was teaming up. So he changed his look several times. But then when he went to the Crow, imagine if he would have had the Crow look, but it was the same howling, you know what I mean? Loud talk. Nah, he was quiet, silent, wasn't talking. They completely reinvented Sting. And that was a Scott Hall idea, right? According to Sting. So, yeah, but bottom line, he played the character down. And that's what I'm saying. You don't see that type of creativity anymore. We know, for example, when we saw Tony Storm become timeless Tony Storm, that the influence came from Marilyn Monroe. This tramp is the champ. You know, this queer is here, and you know, all this kind of stuff that she was, right? Now, Mariah May is a cheap knockoff. Marilyn Monroe, Mariah May. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? They tried to make her their version of Tony Storm, and it's not working the same way. It's not there, and nobody's talking about no fucking Mariah May. Let's just be real. Now look at her work in AEW, and you go, she was badass. I've yet to see her display even close to any of that stuff that she's in NXT. So, you know what I mean? Look at look at the product that they're giving you. I'm going to close this video with a question. Do you see anything even remotely close to what John Cena was, that you even have confidence that there's anybody in there right now that's going to take the WWE to new heights? I don't see anybody there that's going to do anything that's going to be reminiscent of it, that's going to make you even think that it's a chance of it happening. Nobody on that roster. The creativity is gone. The love, the passion for wrestling, done. It's all about entertainment. John Cena was wrestling every fucking Raw damn near. He was showing up every week. You can't have that Brock Lesnar shit, that Roman Reigns shit, that Cody Rhodes shit. Guy comes out walking with a belt on his shoulder and just want to talk, but only wrestle at pay-per-views. John Cena was a workhorse. Adam Copeland was a workhorse. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? How the fuck is you gonna replace that? Like the NBA with that load management bullshit. Well, yeah, that's what WWE have, load management. They don't want to risk putting their guys and women out there to go out there and do what the fans pay for, but they want to jack those prices up. Plain and simple, you won't replace John Cena. That's all I got for you guys right now. Catch you on the next video.